I'm here with Robert Comstock, who is running for the chair of the Utah Democratic Party, just to talk a bit about issues that are really impacting him. So to just start out with, why are you a Democrat?
A student, one of my students once asked me, Mr. Comstock, what's the difference between a conservative and a liberal? And I said, well, here's how I see it. A conservative is a person who says it's everybody for themselves. They have to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, and if they're going to get anywhere in life, they have to achieve it with their own efforts. A liberal says, we're all in this together, and we do need to be responsible and work hard and help one another, but we're all in it together. And if the human race is going to improve, it's going to improve because we all cooperate. And that's why I'm a Democrat, because I'm a liberal.
And in just a couple of sentences, could you introduce us to yourself, who you are, and why you believe that you're the best chair?
Absolutely. In 1976, I came here with a faith-based organization. It was a religious community, and part of what we did in our religious practice was feed and house the homeless constantly. We received no government funding, not that that's bad, but at that time it was all by faith. It's what we did, it was our belief. And for 10 years I was on the staff of that group and then on the board of directors of one of the two churches that ran these shelters. And I learned a tremendous amount about what the poor really go through, because I was once one of them. And so my relation to the poor is not as a politician, but as one of them viscerally. And that was the start. Then in the 1980s I formed a nonprofit to address the needs of at-risk youth and their parents in a holistic, non-psychotropic drug manner with outdoor programs. In 1992 I gathered 23,000 signatures for term limits on Congress. 7 states at that time were trying to initiate an amendment to amend the U.S. Constitution to limit Senate and House, as the President was limited by constitutional amendment. In the 2000s, I was mentored by the Utah Hispanic Democratic community, and I became very active in the Democratic Party. During that time, well, since then, I have helped literally dozens of Democrats. I myself have run for office 8 times. And I'm glad I'm running for chair now because I can take all that experience and put it not just for me in a political office, but to benefit the entire party. I'm doing this because I believe 2020 will be historically one of the most momentous years for the Democratic Party that has ever been seen. My message. Go ahead, please.
And what do you feel like are the biggest challenges that especially Democrats in Utah face with the upcoming 2020 election?
We are our own worst enemy. I have watched for 30 years. We tend to be cynical and defeatist, and we don't think we can win. But we saw right here in Utah when Bernie Sanders came to this state, we saw something that has never, ever, ever, ever been seen. Was young and old people alike inspired by his message, being true to our ideals and speaking of our revolution, that we can do it, and we have to stop being defeatist, and we have to stop getting ready to be prepared. Let's field a great candidate for governor. Let's have down ticket. Let's win, because we're going to win. We have to be prepared.
And how are you going to plan on making sure that all Democrats in the state are heard, from the avenues in Salt Lake City to the coal fields in Copper Canyon? How do you feel that you would be the best candidate to make sure that there's a bridge between all parts of this party?
I have watched the 29 county policy in the Democratic Party evolve for the last 20 years. And it's a great thing. Right in the state office is all the 29 counties there. I just think we have to keep it in our consciousness. My plan is that the executive committee, that every one of us on the executive committee will visit at least 4 counties. 4 times, we can do it, we can cover every county with the executive committee and the executive director, and we can visit each county at least 3 or 4 times a year. I want to incorporate them. They're vital. The industries, the energy industries in Carbon Emery County are critically important. These people need to be respected for the hard work they do. And the coal industry, all of them. And the transition, I've often talked with you about, and we've gone to conventions. We're Democrats and we do know that we have to transition to renewable, sustainable energy. However, as we do that, we have to help the working families that have made their living providing, keeping the lights on, providing the coal and the power plants and all the energy, traditional energy sources. They have to be respected and upheld by our party. They are not respected by the Republican Party. We're the ones that are going to respect them.
And why do you feel like you're the best person for the job and amongst the 4 candidates?
I have lived what the working poor live. I have lived what the lower middle class lived. I am not a privileged elite. I have suffered 2 medical bankruptcies by simply getting sick with full insurance. I live real life. I think too often we elect people who are socioeconomically, well, here's the way I liked what you said about it. Working class people deserve to be represented by a working class chairman and working class elected officials. That's representative democracy. Not an elite class, but the real people. Like my 2 new heroes, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and Ayanna Pressley. They inspire me because they're the real people and they're in Congress, and that's what it's supposed to be.
And how do you intend to make sure that this is the strongest party that it possibly can be going into one of the most vital elections?
My vision for the future of this party is growth, and there's only one way we're going to grow, is by young people. I don't care what anyone says. Without young people, we do not grow, and if we do not grow, we won't win. We're not going to win by large corporate donations. We're going to win by grassroots contributions of thousands of young people who were inspired by Bernie and are coming back in 2020. I already have a plan to approach all the caucuses in the party to ask them to please look at their rules, their bylaws, to see if they can incorporate these young people that are going to come in next year in a quicker fashion into their decision-making processes in the caucuses. That's one I'm thinking of right now. But it's going to be a change of attitude. Young people are critical. I look back at history. John Kennedy, 1960, the Freedom Riders of 1964, the people fighting, the kids fighting the Vietnam War, getting tear gassed and bombed, tear gassed and beaten for daring to say, we want to end this war, and we support Senator Jim McCarthy. And look what our party did. That can't happen again. Young people have to be incorporated. They're the future. And Bernie proved that. And we're looking forward to another blue tsunami. But we've got to incorporate the young people. That's my vision for the party. The second part is our voice. We must articulate our values without compromise. No more compromise on our values. We can compromise on policy, but not on, is global warming real or not? It's real. It's science. Are 30 million people going to die without the ACA? Yes, we need a single-payer plan that guarantees health care for everyone. And I'm going to encourage every Democrat to stand for single-payer. It's the future. Every one of these issues, mass incarceration, predatory lending, environmental justice, we have to stand on our values. And my third plan for the Democratic Party is the defense of true participatory democracy. The Republicans have proven they have no moral conscience about suppressing the vote. And that is egregious to our democracy. We will defend democracy tooth and nail. We're going to make it easier for people to vote, not harder.
Perfect. And do you have anything else that you would like to say to the delegate voters going into convention?
Absolutely. We only have one job right now. Our job is to be prepared. Let's stop being defeatist. Just forget it. It's over. We have the moral compass. Rabbi Benny Zippel, he was gathering with an interfaith community to lament yet another synagogue shooting that was perpetrated by the hate coming from the White House. And he said, we have to rediscover as a nation our moral compass. We, the Democratic Party, is the moral compass. It's upon us now. And we just have to seize it and take it and be the moral compass and lead the nation on all of these issues. So I'm telling my fellow Democrats, join in. We're a team. We have one task, be prepared.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Thanks.